Oh, hi! Welcome! How is everyone? How are things? Hold on, I thought I had every window pulled up that I needed, but I didn't. I do now. Howdy, y'all! It is a Monday, the 7th, and I would like it to not be February anymore. Look, listen, I understand this feeling. um, I'm sorry things are gross, though. Can you tell things to stop being gross? Will they listen? Or are these gross things that won't listen? Because that's the worst situation to possibly be in. Yeah, no, I stand with you, man. I get it, though. Right. Fridge needs to be cleaned out, but you're getting a new one tomorrow? New fridge shows up tomorrow? Right? Which, like, doesn't change the fact that you have to clean out the fridge now. But that's exciting. That a new one will be there. You got this, though. You got this. You're gonna get it done, and it's gonna be so good. And it's gonna feel great. Yeah. I feel like garbage today. And I'm pretty sure it's just because I'm not sleeping. Oopsies, doing that bad. Doing it bad always, never sleeping. Luna, I was about to remind people, but you're already on it. Thank you for the contribution to the alien stream. We do have that community challenge up if people want to throw their points at it. Don't gotta if you don't wanna. But that's exciting. Hi, Luna. I love you. I hope you're doing well. I was saying I feel like garbage today. I feel like hot garbage. I've said it before, but like this last week and this weekend have not treated me kindly, and I've been trying to be extra nice to myself, but I haven't been sleeping, so that makes it even more difficult. But we're here, and we're gonna do stuff, and we're gonna keep being nice to ourselves. And it's gonna be great. Right? I wish there were no barf feelings. But there are. And it's okay. It's okay that there are. It's what you do with it that matters. Thank you though, TK. Gonna lurk because you also feel like hot garbage. All of my love to all of you. No barfy day. No garbage day. I mean, sometimes you gotta take a day to just feel like garbage. And that's okay. That's sometimes a good thing to do. But I hope everyone feels better soon. And that things get a little easier for all of us. It's been a rough few months. It's been a rough couple of years, let's be real. But you got this. Do what you need to. We love you. Lurk if you gotta. Just know that we are happy to see you. Yeah, so my energy levels today are probably gonna be fairly low. I might perk up a little bit as we stream. But I ache. It's one of those, I don't know, I woke up this morning and was like, oh god, I'm sick, but no, I'm just exhausted and my body is just run down. So yeah, I'm just really, really tired. We're gonna stream for a little bit. Hopefully the full 2 hours, but I'm not gonna promise the full 2 hours. I needed to take a shower this morning just to, like, relax, and I didn't. And so I might take a shower after stream. We'll see. I don't know what's going on. But I wanted to stream. I said over the weekend, like, while I've like felt like absolute shit the last week or so, streaming has been really, really nice, and I've been really enjoying it, and it has made me feel better, if not feel better, then at least like let me distract myself from the stuff going on, which has been appreciated. I love spending time with you all. And checking out the games that we do. Right, yeah. We gotta look at the 4K black and white leather gloved cock. Yeah. So we're gonna do that today. It's time for some chicken police. I didn't think I was gonna like this game as much as I do, but I do. And I have been looking forward to getting back to it. Let's see, what are we doing? We are at the mental institution. At the dang hospital, talking to Dr. Quetzal. Think we're supposed to interrogate him now? Because Ibn's brother, Albert, went missing, but his body showed up because that's who Fizz dumped at the hive. So we're assuming that Ibn killed his brother. And we're trying to figure out why. Excuse you, that is not yours. Go. Devo is now being a shithead, like Farley, and likes to eat Lamia's food. Go. You need to go. I am not happy with you. Go. Hold on a second. Get out of here. Just me fighting the cats all of the time. On top of everything else. I don't remember much about the doc other than we talking shit and he was right there. It's true. That is accurate. The doctor seems odd. I don't trust him. But that could also just be my own bias speaking. Oh, we don't interrogate. We ask. We ask about things. Let's go ahead and ask about Albert.
How long was Albert a resident of the institution?
For quite some time. His first symptoms surfaced in his teens. Depression, panic attacks, and schizophrenia.
Okay.
Was he brought here immediately after the first signs that something wasn't right?
You know, the biggest problem with an opinion on insanity is that animals are ashamed of it. That's the reason our institution stands out here in the middle of nowhere.
Because animals would rather hide what they're afraid to face.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
As far as I know, the Wessler family wasn't exceptionally wealthy.
Indeed, they were rather poor, but we offer our services gratis.
Then how do you sustain yourselves?
Marty, listen, have you looked at this facility? It's not
By the
exactly
grace of the treasury of King Hector
top
III,
tier.
of course.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
My family and the royal dynasty had always been on good terms, Mr. Santino.
Okay. Oh, we can question him now.
What kind of a place is this exactly? I assume it wasn't built as an insane asylum.
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century, until finally it went to the crown of Cloville when Hector's great-grandfather took the throne. The rest is history.
The dedication these actors have to
How long have you been working
So the
here?
presentation of these lines is very good.
I've worked here for more than 30 years, but it's been in my family's possession for almost 150 years.
So if I count correctly, as soon as it went to the crown, it was seized by your family.
That's almost accurate, Mr. Featherland.
What a lovely inheritance.
Tell me about Madame Zavos.
Tell me, Doctor, do you know Madame Zavos?
Just like everybody else, I've heard of her, but I never had the pleasure of meeting her in person. I'm sure she's an interesting case.
Oh, you can be sure about that. I'd gladly get you two together if I had the chance. A spare cell would suit her very much.
Is that so?
As it turns out, she likes small, narrow, secret places.
Oh, I see. What a coincidence.
Excuse me. Alright, let's go ahead and start questioning the man.
Dr. Quetzal's a real mystery.
Start off
But I
with
can
the
turn that
just
to my advantage.
straight on
I just
straight on
need to
look, I
focus
see.
on the strangest pieces of the puzzle.
Okay. Ooh, we're starting off low.
So when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
I guess. I don't know.
Albert and Hobart,
I don't like
or
him.
Ibn, as you call him, arrived here almost exactly
I don't-
4 years
I
ago.
don't like the snake man.
Could you describe that day more specifically?
He's concerning, and
It was not long
I don't
after
know.
New Year's Eve, maybe the first week of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It was sleeting that day. Wind was banging incessantly on the windows. The power was going out for short periods of time.
What was your first impression of them?
I already knew the Wessler name. I knew who they were. Or at least I knew one of them, Hobart Wessler. He was famous. Gangster,
Ippin.
moneylender, celebrity, lover.
And
excuse
Albert?
me?
He was new to me, an invisible gray ghost. The family had tried to keep his existence a secret.
Why?
Because they were ashamed of him, of course, Mr. Featherland. That's how it usually is.
What was your first impression of him?
He was silent, but observed everything that surrounded him. His eyes were constantly moving, never stopped for a second.
Was he afraid?
I wouldn't say so. It seemed to me that he wanted to move into our institution voluntarily. It looked as if he couldn't wait to be here, alone, locked up in silence and darkness.
It's not exactly a great description for your hospital, sir.
Didn't you think of that as unusual?
Of course I did, but who am I to judge? It was rather special treatment.
Okay, what kind of special treatment did Albert get? Tell me, did Ibn Wessler threaten you in any way?
What kind of special treatment did Albert get?
You know, if an institution like ours has to accept a Wessler as a guest, there's bound to be some favoritism.
And complete secrecy, I guess.
Yes, but that's the case for all our patients, Mr. Featherland.
Of course. So in what way did he receive more than the others?
Basically, we don't admit anyone into our institution without a complete and thorough prior assessment. In the case of Albert, we put that aside.
So you didn't even know if he had anything wrong with him?
Initially, no. He was more of a guest than a patient.
I wouldn't want to stay here, just for shits and giggles. How did you see Albert when you first met? How did Albert relate to you? Do you think he was a threat to others? How did Albert relate to you? Daydreamer and addicted to details. We should probably do, how did you see Albert when you first met?
How did you see Albert when you first met?
Albert was shy and reserved, like a ghost. He almost never touched anything. It was evident he was exceptionally intelligent. He measured and observed everything around him.
What else?
He was delicate and graceful, almost like a woman. Yes. He was rather feminine. He was an artist, Mr.
What are you getting?
Featherland.
What are you
A
getting at with this
magnificent
Quetzal?
painter and rather
Welcome home,
good
Allie.
writer,
Hey,
too.
friend.
Sometimes I even heard him sing.
How are you doing? How is it going?
Why did he have to be locked up?
I asked the same thing at first.
We're doing so good. Are you telling me Albert had multiple Oh no.
Are you telling me Albert had multiple personalities?
We found out very quickly that there was no other reason for the cause of his seizures. He had a cold and calculating personality who sometimes, especially on stormy days, took the reins over their shared mind.
I don't know what the snake is trying to imply, but I don't like him, and I don't like anything that he's saying.
He had these seizures from the beginning.
Yes, Mr. Featherland, but they started to intensify after Albert left our institution for the first time.
He did what? Left the institution? More than once?
Oh, yes, Mr. Featherland. Albert left the institution on several occasions until the last time, when he failed to come back.
Quetzal's not only very observant, but he's addicted to details. I must focus on that if I want to get closer to the truth. Focus. Addicted to details.
Okay. So Albert could just walk in and out. When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time? You're keeping some things from me, am I right? How could you let Albert leave this place? When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
Excuse me.
It was about 2 years ago. Mr. Hobart Wessler appeared and demanded we let his brother go free. Naturally, we obliged. We had no idea if we'd ever see him again.
But you did.
He returned the same day. Albert was ecstatic. He was unrestrained. I could almost say happy.
That was unusual for him?
I had never seen him like that before, Mr. Featherland. He just smiled and stared at the empty wall for hours.
Did he ever tell you what happened to him outside?
Of course he did. Albert and I had a good relationship. He was working on a painting for his brother.
Was it a painting of a lovely lady cat?
Oh!
Oh, exactly. So you already knew about that.
Yes, Dr. Quetzal, I've seen it.
Wait, so... Oh, spicy! Did Albert tell you how he felt about the painting? Has Albert ever talked to you about Natasha? Did Albert tell you about his relationship with his brother? So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting. Oh, probably one of these? Any three, or any of the top three would be good. Hi, Fruity. Thank you for the contribution to the alien stream. Did Albert tell you how he felt about the painting? Has Albert ever talked to you about Natasha? Did Albert tell you about his relationship with his brother? Allie, thank you as well. Let's ask about brother.
Did Albert tell you about his relationship with his brother?
Rarely. He respected and loved his brother, but when he came to talk, he was usually angry.
Oh, why?
Fear, jealousy, frustration, rivalry, maybe all of these combined.
Okay. We're getting through. Excuse me. This is how I am. I'm exhausted today. I mentioned before, everything aches. I feel like I'm getting sick, but I'm not. I am tired. I feel fine. As far as, I don't know. It's like the mental fog that you get when you're getting ill, but nothing else. I mean, my body aches, but that's nothing new. So I'm just tired. We're tired today, but that's okay. We're taking it easy. We're gonna be extra kind to ourselves. Yeah, I got the stress sick. It's one of those, it's hard to, verbally explain, the difference between it, but I'm glad that you get it. Just stressed out, and therefore my body is revolting and being stop freaking out. And it's like, body, I would love to, but you're the one that's processing the stress this way. So yeah. It was a very long night. I didn't sleep at all last night, and I haven't slept well at all over the last week. So I'm pretty sure that's all just catching up to me at this point. But yeah, we're taking it easy today. We're being very nice to ourselves. I'm not worrying about anything that I don't have to. So yeah. How are you? How are things? How are things for everyone? More people have shown up since I asked that last. But how are you? How are things going? So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting. I forgot to look if that was a good question. It's fine.
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. Every time he came back, he was like a different person. But unfortunately, his seizures also multiplied and became more dangerous.
Bundle up. Stay warm. I'm glad you're doing okay, though. Keep remembering and forgetting about the dead fridge. You're gonna have a new one tomorrow, though. And that's exciting. Travis said that he was gonna be cleaning out the fridge today. And it's that's such a chore. It's such a grueling job, but it also just feels so good once it's done. But getting through it is miserable.
More dangerous.
But yeah, fridges.
Albert was hurting himself. And on one occasion,
Oh no.
he even tried to hurt me. It was unprecedented. It seemed his confined personality
Oh
was
no.
taking over their shared mind entirely, piece by piece.
Trying to find that single item that's gone off. Nachos definitely require a fridge. I'm sorry, Allie. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Cost it?
Not the painting, Mr. Featherland.
Yeah, we need to go through our fridge and just get rid of a bunch of stuff, just as a, bi-monthly kind of a thing. That sounds like a lot of effort that I do not want to put into anything right now.
Exactly. He was obsessed, right until that fateful day when he returned to us for the last time.
Listen. Rip it and rip it. Do you have the cheese and salsa outside and the cheese shredded or frozen? Not salsa sorbet! Oh no. TK, get rid of that stuff! Get it out of there! That's too long. So Besa.
What
Oh, no.
exactly happened that day, Doctor?
It wasn't
No.
Hobart who
No,
brought his
no
brother back
salsa.
that
No
day,
salsa
but
ice.
two of his gorillas. Not literally, I mean. And
Oh,
Albert
goodness.
was in a terrible, terrible state.
No, that's totally fair. I get it. Again, like, I don't know, of all the tasks that there are at home, I feel like fridge cleaning is probably the one that requires the most attention and the most energy. Like, one of them. Obviously, probably not, like, the task, but definitely up there with, like, full house cleaning and stuff like that. Like, and you can kind of do it in bits and pieces, but not really. Cleaning out fridges is miserable.
What happened to him?
Not extreme gazpacho.
I don't like to talk about that, Mr. Featherland.
Oh, no.
It could be vital to the case, Dr. Quetzal. Don't back down.
Definitely higher than bathroom cleaning, and bathroom cleaning is miserable as well. But again, like, at least with, like, bathroom cleaning, like, I mean, definitely there's, like, things that you have to do in, like, big chunks, but you can still kind of, like, break the bathroom down into sections. So it's like, okay, like, today I'm gonna clean the toilet, and tomorrow I'm gonna clean the bathtub, and then the next day I'm gonna mop the floor or whatever. So it's a little easier, but with the fridge, it's like, if you're going in there, you're going in there, and you're just doing all of it all at once. Ugh.
Oh, you're right. There's no use turning back.
Like, you
now.
could do it by shelf, but that is so
Albert's
inefficient.
tongue was torn out or cut
Yeah.
off. I don't know exactly.
Fridge
And
cleaning
he was
bad.
blinded in one eye, or rather, one of his eyes was missing.
Oh, no!
Entirely.
Eyeballs!
So you're saying Albert was brought back horribly mutilated?
Yes. And they didn't give any explanation as to what had happened.
They beat the
simply
shit out of
told me it
him.
was some kind of accident.
Dr. Quetzal is cold and professional, but he's also very confused. Maybe it's cruel, but I must exploit his vulnerability if I want to learn everything about Albert. Focus,
Also-
confused.
Okay, Sonny, I get it. Also, I have a new water flavor today. It's like raspberry lemonade or something. It's not one that I've gotten before, and I don't hate it, but it keeps throwing me off because it tastes like Smarties. Even down to the, like, slightly chalky taste, and it's like a liquid one. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Two fellows who brought Albert back. Could you describe them? You don't believe Albert had an accident, is that right? Maybe it's not easy for you to talk about, but did you examine his wounds thoroughly? Can you describe the two men? Let's ask about
You
the
didn't
accident.
believe Albert had an accident, is that right?
Of course not. I'm not naive. I knew immediately that Albert had been severely battered, and I was sure it had been his brother, Hobart.
Well, we don't know that, Dr. Quetzal.
Would you defend a monster?
Take it easy, Doc. One of the most critical elements of my job is not to make assumptions.
You're absolutely
But also
right,
to make
Mr.
assumptions.
Featherland. I'm
You do have to
sorry
make
I got
assumptions.
carried away.
It's all right. Happens to everyone.
Oh, that dropped our meter down a lot. What do you think happened to Albert? Pull yourself together, Doctor. What was Albert's condition after the incident?
Pull yourself together, Doctor. What was Albert's condition after the incident?
Mind your tone, detective.
Sorry, Doc. I can see you're disturbed by these memories.
How could I not be? I'm not a monster. We're talking about a mutilated animal here.
So, what was he like after the incident?
Even more silent than ever. No surprise, I suppose. He was not only silent in words, but also in his soul and spirit.
What do you mean by that?
He never painted anything again,
Oh.
and his seizures completely stopped.
What happened then?
What happened then? How did Albert disappear?
A few weeks later, Hobart came to visit Albert one more time. Albert had been in terrible condition by then. We even had to transfer him to another cell, a more safe one.
What did Hobart do during the visit?
He didn't do anything. He just sat and watched his brother, who was in an almost vegetative state by then.
Couldn't
Poor
you
boy.
manage to draw anything out of him? You or Hobart?
Nothing. For a while, he was trying to signal something. Perhaps he was too afraid. And most likely his fingers had been broken too, so he couldn't even write.
Do you think Hobart
Dang.
could have killed Albert?
It's horrible to say it, but I'm sure of it.
Oh, damn.
How did he disappear in the end? Did someone come for him?
That's what's most eerie about it all, Mr. Featherland. He simply disappeared. His door, which only I had a key for, was open.
Did anyone see anything?
Was open.
No one. We interrogated the staff, even the patients. He simply vanished off the face of the wilderness. We don't know what happened to him.
Unfortunately, I have a hunch. Thank you, Doctor. You've been a great help.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be of help. But please, I now must attend to my work.
We understand, Doctor. Thank you.
How did we do? Terribly. we did bad, but that's okay. Albert Wessler disappeared. We have a hunch about what could have happened to him. All right. Great.
That's quite shocking information.
Forgot that Marty was here.
I think you understand why we kept it a secret. If it wasn't for Mr. Wessler's demand, we'd never let any of our patients walk freely outside our institution.
Then the accident happened.
Accident? Ha! We didn't believe it, not for a second. After Albert came back to us, horribly mutilated, he was different.
Different how?
Probably traumatized.
If someone got one of his eyes poked out and his tongue torn out, he'd be different, but not like this. Albert was a different person.
You didn't mention his tongue was gone.
We believe you, Doctor. So, can we take a look at Albert's cell?
I'd rather call it his room. Mr. Wessler lived in exceptional circumstances.
Okay, but also, Quetzal, you were calling it his cell as well. So.
Thanks to the Wessler name, I
So.
Yes.
Listen.
Well, we try to make all of our patients stay as comfortable as possible, but Albert certainly enjoyed special favoritism.
I hope you don't mind if we take a look around in there.
That's not going to bother anyone.
Well, that's
Wowie.
surprising.
guess. I've never seen a cell like this before, that's for sure. I wouldn't mind living here myself.
It seems that being a Wessler gets you privileges.
And a healthy dose of danger.
Mostly that, yeah. Let's take a good look around. I'm sure we'll find some answers here. I can almost smell them.
Well, I smell paint, ink, plaster, some kind of oil, aging paper, slight smell of rat, and great expectations.
Okay,
What
Marty.
the dickens?
We
Unmistakable.
love us some smelly answers.
This place is bad for you, pal. But if you've already jump-started your beak holes, then
Don't
sniff out the solution.
call them beak holes ever again,
I'm on
Sonny.
it, Boss Bird.
There is something about that phrase that I absolutely hate.
You know, I don't think he had it so bad in here.
You mean apart from being separated from everyone you love in an ancient mansion filled with madmen?
You're right.
As always.
Have you checked your beak holes? Skeet up, bad words. Hate it. I hate it. Photo of the Westlers.
Scribbles. Newspaper
Chickens in
articles,
general, or
study
specifically
papers,
Marty?
Poems. Perfect chaos.
Just
Because
like
the idea of a
troubled mind
chicken
of a troubled
being able to
fella.
smell me is bad. I don't like
but
it.
there's still a kind of order in it. It's just too intricate for you to comprehend.
If you say so, boss.
In general? Ugh. No, thank you.
Look at that. A letter.
I don't need them to be able to sniff me out. Hold on, let me look at the... Oh, I can't do that because we're...
Identical twins.
here.
And looking at it, they may have easily loved the same woman.
Listen.
2 men and 1 woman. Nothing good ever comes of that.
What if the Ibn that we met is actually Albert? And the kid that... Or the body that Fizz got rid of was actually Ibn? If we're talking twins here...
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly.
Of all the wild ones, Marty, please, stitch up your beak, okay?
If it's not that, then possibly Albert was impersonating Ibn to get with Natasha, and then Ibn found out, and then got Albert killed. That's also a possibility. There's a couple of different possibilities here about
Just
what's going
use your
on.
Imagination, old bird.
The second you throw identical twins into the mix, you gotta consider the possibility
Isn't this
that who you're
familiar,
talking
Sonny?
to is not
Just like
necessarily
your office and your desk.
who they
Taking
are.
a better look around, I can find even more similarities.
Hasta. How is the rabbit the big bad?
Why?
He's the one who convinced Albert to do all the bad things. I don't know, but I'm still not. I still
Shut
don't
up,
trust
Marty.
Lewis.
I know.
we haven't gotten enough information to connect Lewis to the overall plot, but he's there. Handful of waffles. Perfect. We'll figure it out.
The style. It's very familiar to me.
You've been lonely for far too long, huh?
Oh no.
Not funny, Marty.
It is, a little. So this
gonna
is
say
an
anything else?
original Albert Wessler.
I think so. It's pretty good, I must say. And I saw something very similar in Natasha's room.
You kept me out of it.
Sorry, little boy. Maybe next time.
Okay.
No way. Is this some kind of puzzle?
We need that
I
paper.
don't think so. But we could still find something important here. A pattern, a sign, anything.
I mean, we got a a cat. I can't tell if that's a cat or a rat. Excuse? I don't know what I'm doing here. That the switching places is my first theory, right? I don't know if... I am not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do here just yet, so we're gonna wait.
A small window.
But yeah,
small hope.
My first guess is that Ibn, the man that we have spoken to, is actually Albert, and that the body that Fizz got rid of was in fact Ibn. Because everyone mentioned, or a couple of people who mentioned that Ibn was acting differently recently. And it would make sense, like, if Albert was upset that, that Ibn was with Natasha, not him.
Identical twins.
Then, and especially if he, like, got the shit beaten out of him by his brother, then it would make sense that he would want to get revenge of some sort. And what better way than killing him and then taking over his empire? I know I don't exist. I don't exist because you don't see me. But I'm not what you think I am. You don't think about me, do you? Never. No, I think of you every day. Every minute, always. In my dreams, I become one with him. One soul. You know who I am thinking about, right? Can you feel it? Can you feel that I'm there too? With you? Do you feel it, right? Especially the amount that Dr. Quetzal said he was a different person. Yeah. Him talking about Albert coming back and, like, the seizures stopped. He seemed like a different person. He was, like, wouldn't talk. And the fact that, like, if his... I don't know. Yeah, this tracks. It tracks. Yeah, he stopped painting was the other thing, too. I am glad that we're all kind of on the same page with this. They definitely switched places. I can't hold it in myself for long. Forgive me. Please, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. The world is crashing down. The whole world just rotting and rotting. Everything is rotting around me. I have to get out of here to become one with my destiny and one with you.
Albert
Forgive
was
me.
madly in love with Natasha and would have done anything for her. I'm afraid he did exactly that.
Right.
It's a piece of a painting, judging... What do you make of this?
Apart from the fact the guy was totally insane? I don't know. What should I?
That maybe we've been chasing the wrong person all this time, Marty.
Right? Yeah, no, exactly. It's like you wouldn't just break someone's fingers and cut their tongue out to keep them from communicating. Or, like, you wouldn't just do that for no reason. It's definitely a means to stop them from being able to communicate.
What do you mean?
Everything will be revealed soon.
Why do you have to be so melodramatic all of a sudden?
If I'm right, this'll flip the whole case upside down.
What's that, Sonny? A blurb from some horrible novel?
I just have to think things through before I come to any hasty conclusions, Marty.
Ugh, you're killing me. So, what now? Where
Marty, get on our level.
Back to Clawville, where we can finally put all the pieces together.
But I want to draw on the wall.
You're driving me crazy. But all right, let's go home.
But I want to understand the room more? Photo of the
What can you tell
Westlers.
us about the woman in the photo we saw in Albert's room?
Do you mean Miss Natasha Katsenko? Well, yes. I don't know much about her, but everyone heard her name and her voice around here.
Did she ever visit this place?
Never. But if you ask me, Natasha probably didn't even know Albert was a resident of our institution.
Ooh.
And Albert, did he mention her often?
Constantly. It was obvious he had an affection for Miss Katsenko, but I wouldn't have thought for a moment he could escape because of her.
I wouldn't jump ahead, Doctor. Something else could be behind Albert's disappearance.
Do you think so? All the signs clearly indicate this.
Maybe they do, Doctor, but in my line of work, logic's not always the best advisor.
In 99% of cases.
Exactly. But this one typically belongs to the remaining 1%.
If you say so.
So, detectives, have you found what you were looking for?
I'm afraid we have, Doctor. And more.
I wouldn't dare to say I'm happy to hear it, but I'm glad to be of service to you.
Well, thanks, Doc.
I hope I don't offend you by saying I hope we're not going to meet anytime soon.
Not on account of either of our jobs, am I right?
Exactly.
Could argue that casting spells is just a form of communication.
Farewell, Miranda, dear. Lovely to meet you.
So, you'll remember my name?
Marty McChicken never forgets, ma'am.
Oh,
Furry gods. Let's go. Goodbye, miss. It was a pleasure.
goodbye, gentlemen, and happy investigating.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
If there's anything I can help you with, please just ask.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Miranda.
Marty,
You've already
please.
helped enough.
Marty, please. You absolute goober.
This picture.
Well, it must have been made by one of the patients, so it's understandable.
It's the handiwork
Right?
of our director. He's not only a scientist, but he's a great painter, too.
Quetzal did
I
this?
see.
Well, it's lovely to have a hobby, right?
That's right, Marty. Art heals, doesn't it?
Exactly, officers.
Okay. Can we...
We need to let them know we're here first.
Okay.
Sorry, but I still can't believe it's really you.
Neither can we.
You can't imagine how wonderful it is that I can help you in one of your cases. Does this mean it will become a new book? And maybe I will be in it?
Miss, those books aren't really...
Don't even tell me. No, I don't want to know. Let it be a surprise instead.
Ma'am.
No, I didn't mean...
Leave it to me, Sonny. I'm good at this. Thank you, miss. Your words are very flattering, and we are honored.
No, I thank you. I'll never forget this day.
We won't either, that's for sure.
We're happy to bring you joy, miss. Anytime.
We need to let them...
Okay, well, I tried to let them know that I was here. It's fine. We can go somewhere else. Time to go to the hotel. Let's go.
Oh, I don't believe this. Those two again?
Take them out.
Oh, no.
My car won't last much longer.
Don't worry, Sonny. I was born to do this.
Oh, no.
Concentrate, Marty, for the God's sake.
Can you drive like you're not a fucking lunatic?
Shut up and shoot, you big feather pillow.
I wish that it had subtitles in this section, but it doesn't.
Are you blind or what? Where did you learn to shoot?
Please stop shooting me. Please stop shooting me. I'm gonna die. Never mind. We did it. We've done it. Just barely, but we've done it.
Well, that was close.
A little too close for my taste. And it only strengthens my belief. Wessler is desperate. He knows if we survive, he's done for.
Well, come on, what did you work out? Will you tell me already?
Sure. Let's put the picture together, piece by piece. Let's start from the beginning. So, we got a case.
Does Sunny already know what's going on? Natasha. No, wait. Sorry. I know what's happening. Nope, never mind. Never mind. I don't know what's happening. Start from the beginning. So we get a case. Natasha tried to keep that painting a secret from us. Natasha wanted us to find the painting for her. Natasha tried to show us the painting. Natasha needed to destroy the painting to hide what happened to Albert Wessler.
Natasha tried to show us the painting. And that painting would have shown us the way.
To Ibn and Albert Wessler, Albert painted Natasha so he met her on more than one occasion. To the secret hideout of Albert Wessler, we still need to find. To the corpse of Albert Wessler, which is obviously gone now thanks to Zip. To the asylum, where we find out that Ibn killed Albert because he knew about the painting. Nope.
To Ibn and Albert
There we go.
Wessler. Albert painted Natasha, so he met her on more than one occasion.
Fatal love.
Which made Albert
Fall in love with Natasha, and on a fateful night, he killed his brother. So he could take his place in secret and win Natasha's
fall in
heart.
love with Natasha. And on a fateful night, he killed his brother so he could take his place in secret and win Natasha's heart.
Did I not say?
So what happens now?
The inevitable, Marty. We're going to the Wessler mansion to confront Ibn with the facts.
You mean Albert, right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, Natasha.
Do you think she knew about it?
Something stinks, Marty. The whole case seems too intricate.
Too many coincidences, right?
Well, after 10 years,
Ugh.
you did learn something, didn't you?
9.
You're right.
Sorry, trying to get comfy in my chair again.
What?
You just laughed, Sonny.
What? No, I snorted.
No, you laughed.
Ah, just leave it, Marty.
I'll be telling this to my grandchicks.
All right, pal, that's enough.
Okay. So, Albert fell madly in love with Natasha and decided to have her for himself.
And his best chance was to trade places with Ibn Wessler.
So that's why the torn out tongue.
Yeah, Ibn couldn't squeal even if he wanted to.
What
Way
a
ahead of you, boys.
diabolical plan.
More like insane.
But why the messages then? Why
Shrimp
the
check.
threats?
I can do that.
Albert got what he wanted. He could have got away with it.
Okay. Reminder that you should all do a shrimp check too. Are you slouching? You got that gamer that gamer posture going on? Sit up a little bit. Pull your shoulders back.
I'm not a psychologist, Marty. But
Thank
remember
you,
what the
TK.
doctor told us. Albert has a seriously injured mind and a split personality.
Not
I
me
think
just
his
sinking
two
into
identities
myself all the
were at
time.
war with each other.
Also, not the DID
So
scapegoat.
the messages were written by one of his personalities, consumed by jealousy?
Something like that, Marty. But we can only learn the whole truth from him.
You're right. So, are we going or what?
We're going, Marty, to finally finish what we started.
Let's
Well,
go. Is
if
this the end of the
there's
game?
Anything you'd like to do before? Do it now, boss.
This can't be the
You're
end of the
right,
game.
Marty. It's time to wrap everything up.
This sounds like the end of the game.
I see we're ready.
You'll need a shotgun for this kind of deal, Marty. Maybe even that won't be enough.
Nothing to fear while Bertha's here. Even less because you're here too with Mr. Sinclair, of course.
Should I cry?
That would be nice for a change. Ah, Her Majesty Bertha II.
My drumstick still hurts every time I see her.
Be glad you're alive. Bertha rarely leaves witnesses. It's a little outdated, but I understand why you're so attached to it.
It can pierce the skin of a rhino, Marty, and the rust brings back memories. I'm a man of bad habits.
You know, sometimes
Your gun
I feel
shouldn't be
like
rusty.
I'm one of your bad habits.
Rest assured, Marty, you are.
If we survive this, can we crack this open?
I'd rather keep it for a really special occasion.
You're saying I'm not special enough?
I was joking. If we survive this, we'll drink it to the last drop.
Now you're talking. You think you'll need your fake badge?
I never needed a badge, Marty.
What a
Sonny.
punchline.
It's more like a kind of good luck charm. It reminds me of who I should be.
And? Does it work?
No, Marty, not really.
Do you think that'll be enough?
Enough evidence. Not in the slightest. That's why we go unannounced.
And with big guns.
Exactly.
I like this new Sonny.
There is no new Sonny. Just the old ones had enough.
Fair
If our
enough.
theory's correct, this photo will hurt more than a bullet.
That's the plan.
Okay, so that's everything in the trunk. Do we have access to everywhere? I mean, we've like gotten everything that we need, right? Lewis.
Hey, Lewis. You weren't awake all night because of us, were ya?
I've never been this excited, Sonny. Seriously, it is a great honor to be part of the team. What is it?
You, Lewis. You don't stutter anymore.
What?
Just now, you didn't stutter. Not even a little.
Oh, I must be exhausted. It happens sometimes.
And it's back.
Marty, please.
So, thanks again, Lewis.
Super
You always
sus!
get us out of trouble.
Come on, boys. Don't even mention it. It is me who is grateful to be a part of an adventure of the chicken police.
Maybe the last one, too.
Hey, Sonny. Don't spoil his mood. He's so cute.
Pardon?
Nothing. Did you forget anything, Sonny?
No, I just thought I'd take a look. Might be the last time I see it.
You becoming sentimental?
Who knows? Maybe I am.
Oh, that's cute.
Do we have
Should
anything
I
else in
say
here?
it?
I know, Sonny. I can still get out.
But you won't.
On the beak.
Thanks, pal.
Forget about it. I'd be bored to death otherwise.
I mean, there's not really anything in here that I need, so.
You know, pulling the trigger was the toughest decision of my life.
You mean when you shot me?
Yeah,
But it wasn't hard, because you thought you'd kill me.
not at all, Sonny. I knew you'd survive. I wanted it to be a permanent injury and hurt like clucking hell. But I knew that everything would change from then on.
That something was gonna break between us?
Yeah, and that I was never gonna be the same either. With that shot, I also gunned down who I was, you know?
It really did hurt like hell.
I know.
I almost bled to death.
Almost was the goal.
And? Did you manage to forgive me since then?
I want to know more about this bloody New Year's
Well,
Eve
what hurt me
stuff.
wasn't what you did. I mean, of course it did, but what hurt the most was you not trusting me. That you didn't believe me.
Not until you pulled the trigger. At that moment, I knew you were right. Ah, Cluck.
Yeah, Cluck. All right, enough sentimental crap. We have an insane rat waiting to be put behind bars, and a woman you gotta get.
What?
Come on, Sonny. Even a blind bat can see it.
Oh well, Cluck again.
Yep.
Well, let's go to the weekend house.
So,
Right,
we're looking
same.
for more evidence?
No, I was just thinking we could take another look. You know, just in case.
Okay, sure. But
Don't even ask, Marty.
you're really becoming sentimental.
One more word and I swear I'm...
Yep, I'm gonna shut it. You don't want to go in.
I hope you're just messing with me, Marty.
Of course I'm messing with you. Let's get inside there and see how much the boys have messed up the place. You know, Sonny, when we entered the room and saw the girl...
Deborah.
Yeah, her body. I called you every name in the book inside my head. I just had enough, you know? I wanted to quit.
What kept you with me? Was it just curiosity?
No. I just wanted to see your downfall, boss. I wanted to be there when you met your end, get humiliated or even shot.
Wow. Well, thanks for your honesty, Marty.
But then everything changed on the ship.
On the ship? Why there?
I don't know. Being tied up with you, waiting for certain death. I know I lashed out at you, but in truth, I felt there was no place I'd rather be. It was my place on that fucking burning ship with you, even if we both died there. Know what I mean?
Friends.
I think I do, Marty. I think I do.
So, I guess there's nowhere to go but forward, huh?
Nothing left to do but kill a rat. As the chicken police.
For the last time?
For the last clucking time, partner.
Swear?
Aww.
I swear.
All right. Let's hit the road.
We...
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really anything here, is there? That's fine. I guess we should probably visit the other couple locations just to see what's being
you know,
said.
Sonny, few places are as cozy as the hot dog at dawn.
You have a point.
The silence, the fog, the sunshine slowly devouring the sleeping city.
The smell.
Yeah, the Cobbler District has its own distinctive aroma, that's for sure. But wait, do you smell that?
It seems Zip is ready with the first batch of coffee.
Go say hi to Zip.
That's waiting only for us, my
Go
friend.
say hi to Zip. Go say hi to Zip. Go see Zip. Sony.
Well, he's out. He's brave indeed.
Same.
Or an
Same.
idiot.
I don't like the way he says it. I mean, yeah, it's spelled with an O, but you say it like Sunny. You say it like sun.
They're often the same, Marty. And you
Right?
should know.
Not Sony. We're not. He's not a PlayStation. Come on. Talk to
Hello,
Zip. Talk
Zip.
to my boy.
I see they kicked you out.
You know, Sonny. They told me I could stay in there for 48 hours if I wanted.
Well, maybe you should have done that.
Shit, I had enough. Fuck it. You understand? When you interrogated me, you opened my eyes. I don't give a shit about him, about Wessler and his henchmen. Let them come if they want. It's not gonna be easy for them. You can be sure of that.
I love you, Zip.
That's the Zip we know and love.
Thanks, Marty. So, why you here?
Sony is
One
different.
last coffee before the end.
Are you going to get him?
We don't have a choice, Zip. We're grabbing the rat by the tail. No screwing around. No playing it nice.
I see Ibben's really got to you.
Just Sonny. I'm like this all the time.
Just Sonny.
Yeah, that's true.
Just Sonny. It's Sunny, Marty. Sunny, not Sonny. Okay. Great. Do you have anything else to say?
And what do you expect will happen when you get there?
They'll either let us in, or we'll blow open the doors and go in guns blazing. How hard can it be?
Well, I'm not sure you know what you're up against, boys, but it's your funeral. I'm just glad I got to know the legendary chicken police.
Hey, don't write us off yet.
I'm just getting ready for all possibilities, Marty. Hey, chicken coppers,
Yeah, Zip?
take care of your feathers for me, okay?
Will do, Zip.
Don't worry. I'll protect this smelly old bird.
Cute. Okay. Let's go to Mullen's
Well,
newsstand.
if we have anything else to ask the old beaver, this is the last chance.
Hey, don't steal my style.
Just learning from the best.
Let me give you some advice. Don't.
Mullen!
Does the name Albert mean anything to you?
I know multiple Alberts, Sonny. Which one do you mean?
Albert Wessler.
I see you're in a funny mood, Sonny boy.
I'm not joking, Mullen, but I'm surprised there's something I know and you don't.
And who is this Albert, anyway? Ibn Wessler's hidden son, maybe?
Even better, my friend. His secret twin brother.
Oh, you've walked into trouble there.
Mullen's noises are
I was hoping you
delightful.
could tell me something useful.
Oh,
about it.
oh. I love
can't,
him.
Sonny boy. Avoid him. Avoid the whole Wessler family. Those who happen upon secrets that deep sink without a trace.
Well, I used to be a professional swimmer. Didn't you know?
No, I didn't.
I lied.
Oh.
What do you know about that asylum? What's it called?
Since there's only one of those around Clawville, I know which one you mean, Sonny. It's an ancient mansion, easily around 100 years old for sure. Or more. Well, what do you want to know about it anyway?
We actually just got out of there.
That explains everything.
Seriously, what do you know about it?
The place is self-sufficient in theory, but in reality, the Crown maintains it. No one knows the exact reason why, but according to gossip, they used to keep someone in there. Someone who was either part of the royal family or just very close to the fire. But who knows? Maybe it's just a legend.
Well, they say we're legends too, and we're standing right in front of you. Am I right?
What can I say then? This whole city is full of legends.
This Albert, he had to paint a picture of Natasha at his brother's request.
Let me guess. He fell in love with her.
Yeah, classic, huh? Then he killed his brother and took his place.
Are we just really just telling him
well,
everything?
That's a classic too. So, you're telling me
They
who
didn't touch
goes
on
by
the other
Ibn
painting, and
Wessler
it
is not really
does kind of
Ibn
annoy me.
Wessler.
Exactly. He's Albert, a dangerous lunatic
But I wonder
with
if,
multiple
like-
personality disorder.
It's DID. It's not that anymore.
Lads, I guess that Miss Marble's going to write another one of those novels about this.
I wonder if, like, some of the items that you pick up are for, like, secrets and not necessarily... I mean, they're necessary to, like, continue the plot, but, like, I don't know. I think I might have needed to, like, find the symbol that was on the corner of the painting that we found in the mural on the wall in the hospital.
You mean
And I
Meredith?
didn't, because
Well,
I didn't put it
that's just what
together
we
until I
need.
got into Quetzal's office, and then I couldn't go back.
Once you sold your soul, it's too late to cry about it, sonny boy.
That's what I keep telling him.
But, I don't know.
Do you know Dr. Quetzal?
Excuse me.
You mean Professor Quetzalcoatlus? Yeah, now you laugh at this, but we went to university together.
Did you really?
You did what?
Do I not look the type to you?
No, well, I didn't mean that. I just didn't know you went to university.
I studied psychology, sonny, only I forgot to graduate. That's when my father died.
So that's why you know the animals so well.
No, I know them well because I have a newspaper stand and I talk to hundreds of animals each day. And I listen to the everyday problems of almost all of them. There's no better lesson in animal studies.
You surprise me every time, old beaver. And what do you know about him? Can he be trusted?
You're afraid he screwed you. He looks like a terribly dishonest snake, but don't let your prejudices overshadow what your wattle tells you. Quetzal's one of the kindest-hearted and most honest animals I've ever known.
I do feel a little bad about not trusting him, but also some of the things
That's
he was
good
saying
to
was a
know,
little
Uncle Mullen.
problematic.
Or
So,
rather, Professor Mullen.
Hey, 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 don't get cocky with me, little chickie.
and then the Wessler residency.
What do you know about the Wessler Mansion, Uncle Mullen?
That if you're about to go there, bring a tank with you. Or two.
Dangerous, you mean?
Dangerous? That's a
It's only as
fortress,
good as
so it
written.
is.
It's true.
Giant
It's
walls,
true.
watchtowers, and of course, Wessler's hired thugs are waiting for you there.
Yeah, sounds great.
It's a beautiful place, I must admit. At least you'll kick the bucket with mouths hanging open in wonder.
That's something.
Good attitude, my lad. Keep it.
All right.
Hey, old man. Sun's not even up yet, and you're already open?
You know what's my secret, sonny boy?
What?
I never close.
That clever.
How can I help you, lads? I see you're going somewhere.
Well, Sani's going to die. I'm just wrapping up a delicate case.
So, you'll be off to the Wessler residency then?
You're sharp, old beaver.
I mean, we did ask him
Well,
about
me
it.
dear lads, I'm glad I got to know you.
Hey, don't you start too.
That I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, weekend house. We've been to the hot dog. I guess we could go say hi to Bubo. Hi, Ursula.
Hey, Bubo.
Hello, old man.
Is he asleep?
But his eyes are open.
Bubo!
This is how Lamia sleeps. Eyes partially open,
Hey,
making
what is
weird
it?
noises.
I wasn't sleeping.
You were something.
What the hell are you doing here, chickens?
Sani wanted to say hi before he suffers an unpleasant death of lead poisoning later tonight.
Would you shut the clock up, Marty? You're not funny.
I am a little bit.
You're going to Wessler's, huh?
Bingo. We're gonna put an end to this madness.
Ooh. Or you're stirring up an even bigger madness, am I right?
Well, that's always a possibility.
Get yourself killed for all I care, but don't come here covered in blood, because I'm not gonna open the door for you, I swear.
Oh, thanks for the support, old fart.
Don't mention it, you old gizzard.
No hard feelings?
What can I say, boys? I have a big, soft heart.
You sure do, Ursula.
I love
Would you
Ursula.
like a nice hot cup of tea?
No, thanks. We just came to say goodbye.
Why? You going somewhere? Traveling?
No, we're just visiting a nice place in the city.
Sani's gonna die.
Shut up, Marty.
Marty,
So
please.
it's a case. Well, be careful, boys. And I'm sorry I snapped at you the last time.
No, we deserved
You
it.
don't need to say that, Ursula. We deserved it.
See?
You're a good boy, Sonny. And Marty's a downright saint.
Oh, come on, Ursula. Stop that.
Okay. Well, back to the hotel. Is there anyone they're not telling about their plan? Nope, everyone gets to know. Everyone gets to know. No secrets here.
You didn't have the chance to tell me what happened to your brother.
Alright,
He
how do
left
I...
Clawville, and I haven't talked to him since.
How do I get to the
I'm
Wessler
sorry.
residence?
But I received an unexpected letter 2 weeks ago from the Sura province. Someone dropped it off at my door.
Was it him?
He wrote the letter, that's for sure. I could smell the jungle when I opened it. But whether he was the one who delivered it, I don't know.
Have you tried to find him?
He'll find me if he wants to, Sonny. I know he's not guilty, and that's enough.
But he's still wanted in Clawville, right?
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry for playing a part in all of this.
I know, Sonny. The past is the past.
You know, you've truly changed, Marty.
Is this
You
why
tried
Marty
to
shot
hide it,
Sonny?
but you've changed.
Marty's brother was framed for whatever terrible mess happened on New Year's?
Thanks, boss.
Just, don't call me boss, okay? We're partners.
How do we...
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Very funny.
Funny because it's true.
I would like... Here we go. Here we go.
Look, Sonny, I think if we go now, there's no turning back. Not today, at least. So, are you ready?
I'm still
Let's go.
thinking about it, Marty.
New location. Let's go. Let's finish this.
The sun was shining, and all the ducks were in a row. I felt ready. The pieces of the grand puzzle were laid out on the table. I just needed to piece them all together. A revealing glance or a careless word, and I'd have the answer. I knew we were in
This
the right
poor
place.
car.
I knew it was nearly over. Was Natasha really just a victim? Or did she know everything? Was she controlling the puppets from behind the curtain? Well, if you don't know where to go, go straight ahead. What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, Sonny, please stop staring at us.
Here I am, Natasha. I hope you're waiting for me.
Furry gods. I knew he was rich, but wow.
Also, this is so much
Half
color.
the city is in his hands, Marty. And half the Council of 12.
I think we'll catch a big fish today.
Don't count your chickens. I'm sure Wessler's expecting us. And Natasha, too, I hope.
Emma get an underscore as rating with a party of 10.
Hi,
Kaysh
friends!
and the gang welcome you.
Welcome in! How's it going? Kirstwe... Pejoff? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Emma, welcome in, friends. How are you going? Thank you for the raid. Arch, welcome. Kirsty, thank you for the follow. Oh, I said it right? Awesome. Hello and welcome in, friends. Let me pop on over here so I can say hi properly. API error is your favorite? Oh no. Did it not? I don't know why it didn't work, but you're playing Spyro. We love Spyro around here. Listen. We love Spyro around here. Welcome in, friends. How is it going? How are you doing? How is stream, Emma? API error is a classic. Facts, though. One of my favorite games. Welcome in, friends. I don't think I know a couple of you. I recognize a couple of you, but I don't will introduce myself. My name is Kayshurrr. You can call me Kaysh. I am a queer horror and mystery game streamer. We like to play spooky stuff around here. It was really fun. Good. Good. Which Spyro are you doing? The first one, the second one, the third one? Looking forward to seeing some Chicken Police. It's very good. I was just gonna say, we are currently playing a game called Chicken Police. It's a wild ride. Ripto's Rage is my favorite of the original three. I'm glad you're having fun with it. That's awesome. The Reignited trilogy is very, very good. all the DILFs. The D stands for dragons. But yeah, welcome in. We're playing Chicken Police today. It is not necessarily a scary game. It's a murder mystery game. We are in the final act. So if it's a game that you were planning on checking out and don't want spoilers for, maybe now is the time to bail, but I'm very happy to have you all here. Because of the kind of content that we usually play, we offer content warnings for every single game that we play, regardless of whether it's a spooky game or not. My lovely mod, Blown Apart, has pulled up the list of content warnings for that right now. And if you're interested in checking the game out or recommending it to a friend, adding it to a wish list, we have my other mod, Odd Moose, pulling up the content warnings. It is, listen, it's very good. I've really enjoyed this so far, but yeah, it is the end of it, and I want you to be here to see it, but also it's the end, and there will be spoilers. I don't necessarily know that it would ruin the experience as a whole, though. I don't know. It's up to you. We would love to have you stay, but I also understand if you gotta bail. We do have the VODs up. The VODs are available. I also have them up on my YouTube channel, if that is more accessible for you. Trying to think of what I need to say. I think that's about it. Content warnings, game links, all that good stuff. It is wild. Here, we'll just pop back over here so you can see how great the art is very good. We got some chicken lads. Yeah, we also, well, I mean, I was gonna say, I like explored a little bit, but I missed a lot, and I think that's just because I was curious about the mystery. But it's very good, would recommend. But I will say, Emma and Raiders, you've been streaming for a little while. If you need to get up and take a break, get some food, get some water, tend to some business, just generally take care of yourself. I totally understand if you gotta raid and run. We fully support that here. Taking care of yourself is extremely important, and we encourage that. Yeah. I don't know what else I'm gonna say. We'll be here for a little bit longer. But like I said, we are at the very end of the game. So, I do stream multiple times, though. Oh, I see Kayshurrr and Emma have found our community challenge. I have a community challenge up at the moment where, if we meet our goal, we will play, Alien Isolation, during a long stream. However, we will, do a community vote on which mods we'll add to the game. I've played it before, but I never finished it, and I would really like to. But I remember getting bored partway through, so I think mods might help us get through it. I mean, squeaky shoes, we know squeaky shoes will definitely be there. The Xenomorph will have squeaky shoes. That one I can guarantee. But we'll also find a bunch of other mods to add to it. So Pijoff, Emma, and Kayshurrr, thank you for the contributions to the Alien stream. Yeah. It's business. It's business time. Travis, thank you as well for the contribution. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to the game. Emma, seriously, big thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it, and thank you, friends, for being here. But like I said, if you gotta get up and take care of your dang business, feel free to. I stream a lot, so I'll be around if you want to hang out with us at any point. But we're happy to have you here now. Alrighty. Shall we get in there?
You hope?
But yeah, this game is wonderful. The art is weird and lovely, and I adore it. The voice acting has been superb, and the story is pretty alright.
If I'm right,
if you are down to just your socks, it is laundry day.
Lovely prospects, huh?
I've had worse.
Let's
Really?
go! What can I look at? What is out here?
What the hell is it? Water tower? Turret? A frickin' lighthouse?
Did he just call a turret a turret?
I think it's a monument to an enormous ego, Marty.
Sonny, what?
Well, anyone who
Or
builds
Marty,
a
not
tower
Sonny.
this big must be trying to compensate for something.
Ooh.
Or he just has too much dough.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B. Is there...
Quite
Fancy
the
car.
steed, isn't it?
Seems nowadays organized crime pays well in Clawville.
Are you surprised? The chicken police retired.
Well, they say the team's back together again.
Nah, that's impossible.
I do love my
Oh, yeah.
boys. They're
It's
very
true.
good. There's the entrance. Rat Night.
One of Wessler's ancestors, maybe.
Wessler's ancestors were poor cobblers. More likely, this represents what he thinks of himself.
I wonder how chivalry is compatible with organized crime.
Ibn was planning to leave the underworld.
When his twin brother tore out his tongue, poked out his eye, killed him, and took his place?
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Don't even worry about it.
Oh,
Greenhouse.
this place has its own greenhouse. What do you think's inside?
Plants.
100% humidity and unbearable heat.
Oh, not like that. Could they be growing rarities in there?
Or maybe some chicken-eating giant flower monsters.
What? Oh, you just made that up, right? Nah, I'm sure there's no such thing.
Don't worry about it, Marty.
Is this a mansion or a grand palace?
Is there a difference?
Or a small city.
Well, if it comes to hide
Question
and
still
seek,
stands. Is there a
old
difference?
Whistler will have an advantage.
That's totally cool. Go do your dinner thing. We'll just be here. Be background noise.
A serious advantage.
Thank you, friend. All right, shall we do the thing?
Hey, not so fast, chickens.
It's these boys.
Excuse my partner. He didn't mean to be rude, it's just his terrible habits. As you may already know.
These lads have been shooting at us this entire game. Can only talk to him.
Ah, look what the cat dragged in.
Funny, I don't recognize them.
Well, maybe if they had some guns with them? Tommy guns?
Oh yeah, now I remember. The two suckers in the luxury van you shot to pieces. Twice.
Exactly.
What are you doing here, chickens? Would you like us to finish what we started?
We'd
Like
love
to see you
have
try.
fun with you boys, but we need to talk to your boss. And while we're at it, the lady of the house is also expecting us.
Is that so?
Yes.
Yeah, that's so horny.
Don't call
In
him
that
that.
case, I guess there's no reason for us to waste your precious time. Isn't that right, Gabriel?
Get the hell out of our sight while there are still feathers on your skin, chickens.
Excuse
Easy,
you.
pal. We're not even here anymore. Until next time, boys.
I like how they're not even trying to, like, stop us.
This must lead to Wessler and Natasha's suite.
Well, let's get the big guns out and kick the door down.
No need for that, Marty. We'll wait until they invite us in, like real gentlemen. Then maybe we'll need the guns.
Oh, my trigger finger's itching, Sonny. Someone's gotta pay.
Relax, Marty.
Also, it's
Someone is gonna pay.
the lady.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just don't let it be us.
Olivia, that's her name.
Ah, what a pleasant surprise. Hello, Olivia. Sweetie.
Get lost.
What did you say, ma'am?
Turn around and get the hell out of here now, if you want to make it out with feathers intact.
Come on, Olivia. Don't worry about us. We know what we're doing.
Martin,
Huh?
don't you get it? You have to get out of here or you'll be in danger, and also her.
Do you mean Natasha? Please calm down, miss. We have to talk to Mr. Wessler and Miss Katsenko.
Oh,
You really
jeez.
don't understand, do you?
Oh, jeez.
What do they not understand, Olivia?
Don't worry about it, Natasha.
So, what is it exactly that our guests don't understand?
I was trying to tell the detectives that Mr. Wessler's very tired and doesn't welcome guests this early. He gets rather irate if he's being disturbed at this hour.
I'm sure Mr. Featherland and Mr. McChicken can wait here while Ibn refreshes himself. I'll entertain them until then.
Thank you, Miss Katsenko.
Please, Sonny. I thought we've already discussed this. Call me Natasha.
Please, Natasha, can we talk to you in private?
Martin?
It's all right, Olivia. These gentlemen are my friends.
Olivia's just trying to
Yes,
help.
Miss
Don't kick her out.
Katzenko. I tried to warn you.
Thanks, Olivia?
But, alright, well, this is unfortunate.
It's like the vegetation's trying to suffocate these beautiful walls.
Maybe it will. Maybe in 100 years, nothing will be here but plants. An endless, planet-sized jungle.
That's quite a dark thought.
Yeah, it is.
This place is incredible, but it kind
Get
of gives me the
away
creeps.
from there, Devo. My goodness, this cat.
Because you know what lies behind the beauty.
With Natasha, too?
I haven't decided yet.
Alright,
The truth
let's
is,
talk, Natasha.
Ibn isn't really in a good shape today, gentlemen. He's rather furious. Are you sure this can't wait?
You commissioned us, Natasha, and we barely escaped with our combs intact.
So you know who left the threats?
Oh, we know much more than that, Natasha. We even know where you used to work. We talked to Madame Zavas.
Wild gods.
Why didn't you tell us?
Do you think it's easy for a woman to talk about such things, that she used to be an escort?
Devo's being a turd, and he keeps trying to eat Lamia's food, and he needs to
Along
stop.
with Molly?
So you know.
Yeah, I know, Natasha. I also know all of this was a trap.
Believe me, I tried to handle things the least painfully I could. You weren't even supposed to know.
A lot shouldn't have happened. Poor Deborah shouldn't have had to die.
Dear sweet Deborah.
Cold, stiff Deborah.
Please don't say that.
A price worth paying?
You cannot think I had anything to do with that. You just cannot.
I don't know, Natasha.
Please, Sonny, tell me, what is going on?
You have to know, right?
Please.
Excuse me for making you wait, detectives. I'm having a rough morning after a long night.
Is that so? Our night was also kinda long.
Uh-oh.
To put it mildly.
I was just telling the gentleman that you were exhausted, my dear, and they should come back another time. I'll escort them out.
Oh, honey, no need for that. My door's always open to the legendary chicken police. Please, come on in, guys. Let's talk in my room.
This man is going to try and
Then
kill
this
me.
way, please.
You just stay here, my darling. I'm sure our conversation will bore you to death. Please, go and refresh yourself, or tell Olivia to go make some coffee.
Yes, dear. Whatever you like.
Please, follow me, gents.
Lead on, Wessler. So long, sweetheart.
Yikes, 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 yikes. Where did he go? There's another...
This painting.
It's beautiful and rather provocative. Almost makes my comb stand up.
Sonny!
I'm not surprised.
But the corner is missing.
You're right, Sonny. You're quite the observer.
Well, yeah, this painting's unfortunately damaged. I don't know where the missing piece could be.
You don't know? Well, if you're interested, we know exactly where it is.
Really?
Really. It's here with us.
An insignificant little piece, isn't it? But there's an exciting cat scratch on it.
More like a rat scratch, because it's a monogram.
A.W.
Uh-oh.
Albert Wessler. He's a great painter. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Enough. Out with it already. What are you trying to say? I have no time for your childish charades.
I didn't want to
Easy,
progress through the
Wessler. We'll
conversation
get to
like
that
this,
in a
but this is
bit.
fine. Okay, is there anything else I can
This
look
estate
at?
is rather impressive, Mr. Wessler.
Oh boy.
Well, thank you.
I suppose it took years and years of cumbersome work to build it.
Yeah. As you say, Mr. Featherland, I'm rather proud of it.
You should be. Whoever built this place has a reason to be proud of himself.
Are you trying to say something, sir?
No, just thinking aloud.
Book. Farewell from the fowls.
Do you keep a revolver in your bedroom?
Yeah, a bad habit. One who has a lot to lose has a lot to fear.
I agree.
Yeah, would you like a drink? This is a rather rare brandy. It lifts the spirits, if I may be so, poetic.
Really? Tempting, but I need to keep a clear head, Mr. Wessler.
Yeah, I've heard you don't despise a good vintage.
And I've heard you don't despise murder, Wessler. By the way, you've heard right. But everything has its place and time. Drinks, guns, dead bodies, and the truth.
I understand that this is like the final confrontation, but also Sunny needs to like dial it back just a little bit.
More like prophetic.
And that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Are you trying to intimidate me?
No, that's not how we do business. We're gentlemen.
I really hope so.
Okay.
Impressive bed. Looks cozy.
Sure is better than a cell.
That's right, Marty.
I'm not sure I understand, gentlemen.
We'll see about that.
Right. It is time. Sorry, I was trying to look around. It's time to talk to Wessler.
So, what do you want to know? I've heard you've been through a rather eventful few days.
Oh, you have rather good informants.
Yeah, that's true. I should tell you, I see and hear everything that happens in the city. And you are exceptionally resilient. No offense.
None taken. But tell me, are we gonna flatter each other for a long time, or are we finally done with the courting?
Straight to the point. I like it. Yeah, so let's continue like that, shall we? What do you want? How dare you intrude upon me in my own house?
Oh, forgive us. Our moral compass has been confused a little bit after someone tried to kill us several times in the last 48 hours. With fire, with machine guns. I could go on.
You can't, though. Those are, that's it. Those are the ways that they've tried to kill you.
And while we're at it, you could answer some of our questions. If you've nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
And then we'll just leave you alone.
All right. I'll go along with your childish little game. I would have had a long and tedious day ahead of me anyway. So, can we start?
With pleasure, Mr. Wessler.
Let's go!
I have no idea what she sees in you, but Natasha's been seriously worried about you.
So the poison and the car chase is poison? Was there poison? Car chases, yeah, but those were also like those were guns. Guns were involved in the car chases.
Yeah, she really worries more than
Oh, he's trying to get us drunk. Okay, I understand. I understand.
Disgusting messages.
Disgusting, all right. Do you know why that word exactly? Why did they write that specific word everywhere?
Since you've been to the Nile, I guess you know the answer to your question.
Didn't it bother you, Wessler? What Natasha used to do? Surely it must have upset you.
Sonny, we support sex workers here.
Why? Did it upset you when you discovered your wife did the same thing?
What did you just say?
What did you think, chicken? That I didn't know? Yeah, don't make me laugh. I know about everyone who ever set foot in that place. I can even tell you who Molly's regulars were, if you're interested.
You son of a bitch.
Sonny, don't.
That noise!
Yes, detective?
Not yet.
You're right, Marty.
Oh my god!
It's not worth it.
You're funny, you know that?
About the painting.
Yeah. My brother Albert made it. He's a great talent, but, still, he's a rather troubled individual.
Such self-criticism.
What did you say?
My partner means that you and your brother are very much alike. Identical twins, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed. But, What does that have to do with the painting?
We'll get to that. Don't worry, Mr. Wessler. So Albert made the painting at your request, is that right? And the one that's in Natasha's room in the Tsar, too.
Yeah, exactly. Is that a crime?
No, it's not a crime in itself.
Tell me about the photo.
This picture, it's rather strange, you know?
Why do you think so? It's just me, Natasha, and my brother.
The photo doesn't tell much in itself, yes. But if you already have the right information, suddenly it starts to talk.
Really?
He fell in love with her, didn't he?
Who'd you mean?
Albert, of course. He fell in love with Natasha. All those sessions while he was painting the pictures. Were you there every time?
You mean, me?
You.
No, I mean, while Albert was painting, yeah, but I wasn't there all the time. Albert was there, all along.
And do you think he could have fallen in love with Natasha? That's why he escaped? What do you think happened to him? Who tore out his tongue?
I have no idea.
Did Natasha know about what happened to your brother?
No, of course not.
Do you love beautiful things, Wessler?
Why do you ask that? Yeah, of course.
You were afraid of losing her, weren't you?
Oh my goodness.
To him.
Stop. Enough. If you want to ask something, ask clearly. Don't play with me. You understand?
We're just doing our job.
Then do it clearly. And quickly. Yeah, I'm really starting to lose my patience.
Well, listen.
We visited Albert's cell and found something he seems to have forgotten to take with him in his great hurry.
That's a big mistake.
A classic, even.
What the hell are you babbling about?
This is Albert Wessler's love letter to Natasha.
More like a confession.
In which he tells her he's capable of doing anything for her, even the most horrible things.
Hi, Dougie! How's it going, friend? How are you doing?
This letter doesn't prove anything at all. Albert is mad. Insane. He's not normal. No one would believe his word. Don't you understand?
Big yawns. Good morning. Sometimes you gotta sleep in. I feel like you have an excuse. Yesterday was a big cursed cosplay day. We're doing all right. We're very sleepy today.
But they believe you all.
I was very tired.
Because you're not Albert Wessler.
We're getting through
you're
things.
Hobart Ibn Wessler, aren't you? How good it feels to be in his skin.
Oh, but yeah, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm happy to see you here.
How dare you?
Just tell him, Sonny. I'm getting tired of this.
Let's go.
You're just a cheap fake, Albert. You couldn't follow in your brother's footsteps even if you wanted to. No matter how hard you tried, you couldn't get Natasha either. Am I right?
Oh, damn.
What did you just say?
She hates you, doesn't she? She doesn't know. She doesn't understand why. But she hates you. It's instinctive.
Travis, please. Thank you for the clip. But also, not the dumb noises.
Yeah, what do you know? What could you possibly know about suffering and loneliness and the darkness?
That's what he's doing.
What could you know about hate, huh?
It's time to do an interrogation. Let's go. Oh, JK! No interrogation, only
Albert is an
gunfight.
imposter. He's not who he says he is, and might not even know who he really is. I have to concentrate on this first, to soften him up, and to avoid us being shot in the gizzard, of course.
Oh boy. We are starting real low.
What were you thinking, Albert? How long did you think you could keep it up?
Until the end of my life, if needs. Yeah, I cared about nothing except for her to love me. Not for who Ibn was.
My, how the tables have turned.
Why did you think that would happen?
The chicken
Everybody
police have
noticed the
become
change.
the... have nothing clever to say there. Excuse me.
Yeah, I knew it would be hard,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I also knew animals.
My,
see
how
what
the
they wanna see.
turntables.
I didn't have to behave like Ibn. They only had to believe I'm him.
That's true. You wanted to wrap everyone around your dirty little fingers, didn't you? Why did you decide to take your brother's place? Rooster crows for thee, please. Imposter and a manipulator. Why did you decide to take your brother's place? You wanted to wrap everyone around your dirty little fingers, didn't you?
Why did you decide to
I don't
take
know
your
if this is
brother's
right.
place?
Looks like the chicken is about to finally get to the other side,
As
please!
you're curious, from the moment I laid eyes on Natasha for the first time.
Oh
but
my
I had to convince
goodness.
myself that this was the only way.
Oh my goodness.
You've never talked about your feelings for Natasha with your brother. Am I right?
I'm gonna be very sad when this game ends, because we're not gonna have all these good chicken puns anymore.
Are you insane? Yeah, Ibn would have had me killed immediately. And no one would ever know.
So instead, you've done the same thing, haven't you? What a comfortable excuse.
We're about to fly the coop of life. Mayhaps? Mayhaps?
Comfortable. Do you think all of this was just some kind of cruel game for me? I had to destroy the person I loved and respected the most.
Cry me a river.
Yeah, you know, there's only a thin, fragile membrane between love and hate. If anything touches it, it tears immediately. You felt like this before, haven't you? Yeah, I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
analyze me until the sun goes down, Wessler.
Yeah.
But you won't get far with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, evasive answer. So I'm right.
Yeah. Please, no more yeah. Do you ever believe that you were Ibn Wessler? You wanted to wrap everyone around your dirty little fingers? Why did you have to manipulate or mutilate Ibn? Why didn't you just kill him immediately?
Did you ever believe that you
Let's
were
do this.
Ibn Wessler?
Did I ever believe? I still do. I believed it all along. Don't you get it? I am Ibn Wessler.
And also, Albert Wessler.
I see you're starting to understand.
Cool, good. That was a good one. Does it make you happy to control others, Albert? So you feel you're two people at the same time, even now? Did you enjoy tearing out your own brother's tongue? How did it feel?
So you feel you're two people at the same time, even now?
Does it sound crazy? Maybe it is. But Ibn lives inside me. Sometimes he's even stronger than Albert ever was.
Do you think you can avoid the gas chamber with this, Albert?
I don't have to avoid anything, Sonny. You and your friend, will never leave this place.
Uh-oh.
It's better if you start getting used to the thought.
You're not the cold-blooded killer you'd like to think you are.
Yeah, do you think so? Try me, detective.
What made you think you can deceive Natasha? That was your plan? Take his place and live happily ever after? What would you have done if Natasha found out? Kill her too? What made you think you could deceive Natasha?
What made you think you could deceive Natasha?
Because Natasha loved Ibn, in her own unique way. Yeah, and if there's anything that can blind an animal, it's love and hate. Everything revolves around these two things, Mr. Featherland.
Is everything black and white to you?
No. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Everything's gray in this world. Only two things have color.
Love and hate?
I see you understand now, Sonny. Yeah, we're not that different, you and I.
No, I think we're a little
Albert,
different.
You're everything I'm not. And I'm everything you're not, believe me.
Yeah, if that makes it easier for you, detective.
Hey!
That was your plan. Take his place
Oh, his
and
hand's so
live happily
shaky!
ever after.
Why? Isn't it good enough of a plan, Mr. Featherland? It was perfect, even in its imperfection.
Which is?
Ibn's ghost.
His what?
Please don't take it literally, Mr. Chicken. I'm not talking about spirits. When Ibn died, I didn't just take his place, but also his role. He himself, his essence, if you will.
Okay.
Though I guess that's too much for you to understand.
So you mean Ibn's here with us even now?
He was here all along. Don't you get it? I am Hobart Ibn Wessler.
Oh boy.
I must get serious, because looking at the gun in Wessler's trembling hand, I'm afraid I don't have much time. Albert is a cruel psychopath, but maybe I can turn that cruelty against him.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, I will always just be a broken record about this. I just wish that a lot of games didn't just rely on the whole, like, they're psychotic nonsense. Just stop scapegoating mental illness, especially since they have, like, established that Albert has DID. It's like, can we move away from that? That's the only thing that's, like, ruined this for me.
When was the moment you decided to kill him, Albert?
When I drew the last stroke on that fatal painting, Mr. Featherland. When I glanced at it for the last time,
right?
I looked at Tasha, who was shivering under the weight of my gaze.
I've mentioned it, I know I've talked about it before, but it's been a minute. Because... Hi, Bunno! Yeah, I talked about it, like, when we played at Dead of Night, but that was, like, over a year ago at this point. Because that one just, like... They had, like, a whole, like, warning at the very beginning of the game being like, art, like, this is just supposed to be an interpretation of a man, like, who's struggling with, you know, like, internal conflict and stuff like that, and... But then, like, in the game, they, like, explicitly stated, like, oh no, the big baddie has DID, and that's why he's that's why he's terrible and homicidal, and it's like, don't do that. Stop perpetuating the stereotype, because it's harmful. It's terrible. That's not how these things work. Thank you for the lurk, enjoy D&D! And it's like, especially as somebody who, like, I have a couple of diagnoses that are definitely some of the more, like, stigmatized ones. And that's fine. I don't know, I'm just a person, okay? Just because I have a diagnosis doesn't immediately mean that I'm gonna be a terrible person. And that's the same for anybody. It's not... I hate it, and I'm over it. And it's just, like, a really common theme in the kind of games that I like. In, like, horror and mystery stuff. And I wish it weren't. Please? It just feels cheap and dumb, and it's not creative, and it's harmful. And we gotta move away from that.
You simply fell in love with her? End of story?
Not in the slightest, Mr. Featherland. Love is, just chemistry. What I felt was more than that.
Like, so much of this could be... Like, even just, like, the concept of, like, I'm taking his place, and I've, like, assumed his identity or whatever. You could just say that, and not be like, I'm doing this because I have dissociative identity disorder. It's like, because A, that's not how that works at all. But you could literally just not bring up any mention of a diagnosis, and for the most part, just leave it up as a personal interpretation kind of a situation. It would be fine. But the fact that we have to sit here and label it
that, Albert, but
makes it harmful and not great.
We're just fools.
I don't know.
No, Mr. Featherland.
I wish I could articulate it a little better, but...
At that moment, I knew what I was gonna do. I knew that the world was coming to an end if I didn't do it. It implodes on itself and ceases to exist. I couldn't let that happen. I couldn't.
Let him have her, right? You simply wanted her for yourself.
I wanted her for ourselves, Sonny. I was him by then. He just didn't know it yet.
Okay, do you think you can explain everything? What did you do that made Ibn get you locked up? You enjoyed leading everyone by the nose, didn't you? You're just a cheap copy, you know that, right? Imposter, manipulator, cruel, wounded.
You enjoyed leading everyone
I don't like
by
any
the
of
nose,
these.
didn't you?
Do you think this was just some megalomaniac power play on my part? Some kind of race with myself? Not in the slightest.
Don't expect me to feel sorry for you.
On the contrary, Sonny. Your kind can't even comprehend what I've been through. That way, you can't understand the reasons behind my decisions either.
You know what? Maybe it's better this way. I'll sleep better, that's for sure.
If you're going to sleep, that will be your big sleep, chicken.
I love you too, Dougie. You're great.
Are you so sure about that, Wessler?
I need to message you, and we gotta find a time to play Genshin together. The last week has just been real wacky for me. Last month has been real wacky for me, but I am determined that we're gonna play a game together sometime soon. Okay? Okay? Okay.
If you love Natasha so much, how could you lie to her all along?
We lie the most to those we truly love, Santino. Isn't that right?
It shouldn't be that way.
Also, we're obviously going overtime today. I appreciate that, but I just need you to know that I want to do it. I want to play a game with you.
You mean your wife, don't you? See? That's how it goes. We lie because we don't want to cause even more hurt.
What you did, Wessler, is nothing like Molly or me. What you did was out of simple selfishness and cowardice.
Watch what you're spitting out that dirty beak of yours, Santino.
I'm not afraid of you, Wessler. You'd better get that into your small little rat brain.
Classic mistake, Mr. Featherland.
Uh-oh.
I'm very close to breaking him. But if I'm too hard on him, I could quickly be signing my death warrant. It's time to dig a little bit deeper and uncover Wessler's wounds.
We've done... Oof. Well, I only had that one option there. I was gonna say, we've been doing really, really well, and then that just, like, ruined everything. You still had a spine, you put that gun to your... Oh, no! That's no! Natasha was kind to you, right?
Natasha was kind to you, right?
Jesus, Sonny!
Natasha was, simply amazing, gentle, kind, lively, but still so, distant.
You're telling me.
It's like she was from another world. A world where everything's full of charm and grace and everything's fragile and delicate. Do you understand?
I think I do, yes.
I knew Albert's touch would harm her. Albert is rough. Albert can't keep such a delicate thing in his arms.
That's why you had to become Ibn, am I right?
I didn't take Ibn's place, Mr. Featherland. I became one with him, can't you see? It's the only way I could comprehend and accept the miracle that was Natasha.
Was?
I think I've corrupted her. She's not that gentle and pure creature I painted on the canvas anymore. I ruined her. She became rotten under my hands.
Maybe it's not too late.
Maybe it's not too late, Albert. Tell her the truth and end this.
No. You can't understand this. She can't either. I killed Ibn, but he also killed me, can't you see? We're nothing without each other.
You can't be two people at the same time, Albert. Nobody can bear the weight of the sins of two souls.
Ibn loved her. I admired her. Ibn was crazy about her. I've been crazy for a long time. Ibn idolized her, and I hated her. And if there's anything more blind, more devoted, more extreme, and more true than love, it could only be hate, Mr. Featherland. It's an endlessly exciting, thrilling, and warm feeling. And infinitely red. Just like love.
You know you're not going to be able to go through with it, right? That you won't be able to carry the weight. But you still did it. Why?
Yeah, if I didn't kill him and become one with him, Albert would have died, Mr. Featherland.
And the threats? Which one of you was that? Albert or Ibn? Who wrote them? And which one of you killed Deborah?
In my world, Ibn and I are inseparable. Just like love and hate are one and the same. And I hate Natasha so much that I could destroy myself along with her, just so she would die with me. Are you familiar with this feeling, Mr. Featherland?
Wowee, buddy.
More than life itself.
You see? We're not so different after all.
You and I have nothing in common, Wessler. You know why?
Why, Mr. Featherland?
Because if I were in your shoes, I would have pulled the trigger a long time ago.
Sonny.
Goodbye, Sonny.
So long, Albert.
I did a terrible job. Albert is Ibn Wessler himself! The madman took his brother's place and is trying to tie up loose ends. If we don't catch him now, maybe it'll be too late. Ruh-roh. Where is Marty in all of this? They gasp. Or Natasha. I thought Natasha like stayed out in the hallway.
So, you heard
But-
everything.
But we have found her. She's here.
I heard everything.
I'm sorry you had to find out like this.
And thank you. If it weren't for you,
Yes, both of you would be dead, I know. But believe me, I still thought carefully before firing.
About who to target.
You know, I truly loved Ibn.
But this man wasn't him. You felt
Stop
it,
finally
didn't you?
got Jerry. Oh no!
Maybe I even knew it. I don't know.
Luna.
But I still couldn't believe it.
It won't be easy to process for any of us.
Just had
I'm
to end this
sorry
way,
I
didn't
dragged
it?
you into this. And regarding Molly,
It wasn't Tom though, it was his evil twin brother, Tim. Sonny, why is your beak moving when you're saying nothing?
the cops. But how? How do they know?
I have no idea, Marty.
do not look at me. I did not call them.
Was it Olivia or was it Lewis?
Olivia?
Don't worry, Natasha. They won't lay a finger on you. I promise.
Please, Sonny. You don't need to worry about me.
I don't want to be rude, Sonny, but I'm more worried about us than her. Hello, boss.
Hello, boys.
Before you say anything, we can explain.
No need for that, Santino. Monica already told me everything.
Monica?
Hey, boys. What were you thinking? That I would just let you get killed without saying goodbye?
Aww.
Thanks, Mon. Should we say we owe you one?
You know already, boys. Shoes are my weakness.
Hey, mine too.
We gotta get her those black high
Now,
heels.
all that's furry, we don't want to hear that. And boys,
Yes, boss.
don't believe you'll get away with it so easily. I want a report on my desk from both of you with all the details. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It'll all make sense, believe us. Right after I figure out myself what the hell just happened.
What Marty's trying to tell you is that we had good reason to investigate outside the law. But we're sorry.
What happened to you, Sonny? You're sorry? Did you hit your head?
Why does everybody keep asking that?
Why indeed?
So can we go now, boss? Without getting handcuffed?
Don't give me ideas, Santino.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah, here. Got so many achievements.
Thanks
My
again,
God.
Mon. If not for you, those fur heads would have put holes in us.
No wonder, since you put holes in their boss.
Well, actually, that wasn't us.
Then who was it?
Natasha.
Really? I wouldn't have thought it of her. It's a pleasant surprise.
It was for us too, believe me.
Gotta touch base with everybody.
What? Are you waiting for me to change my mind?
No, sir.
Then stop pecking around here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Tim.
How the hell did you find your way
Timbo.
here, Tim? Always where the trouble is.
Sometimes I think you're the criminal mastermind behind all the dark dealings in this city.
I wish.
I wish too, because then we could legally throw you in jail.
I love your sense of humor, Sonny.
I wasn't joking.
So, where did you get the scoop?
Are you kidding me? The whole city's talking about you. You've left quite the mess behind.
I was gonna say, we weren't necessarily very quiet about what we were doing or where we were going and all that.
It's a miracle that all of the city's smear sheet journalists aren't here already. Oh, while we're at it, will you give me an exclusive interview?
Clock off, Tim.
Hey!
So, what now? Where to next?
I think I should mourn, right?
You should.
But I don't know what to feel anymore, Sonny.
I understand, Natasha. You know, if you need anything...
Yes,
that was not the time.
I know where to find you.
See you around, sweetheart.
Ma'am.
Goodbye, detectives.
Do we... What we got? Can we use this?
Daddy, darling.
Absolutely not.
And what about you, Sonny?
I'll go home and sleep. Maybe for 3 days. I'll try to forget.
I'm sorry I dragged you into this. If there's anything I can do.
I'm not sorry, Natasha. It's better this way. We find out painful truths, but at least we see clearly now, don't we?
Yes, I think you're right.
Just one quote, guys. They say you've taken down the whole Wessler Empire. They say...
I say you're full of shit, Tim, and you can quote me on that.
Lol.
How did you know we were here?
I always pay attention, Sonny. And because I know you like you
Excuse
are
me.
my own nestlings.
Aww.
No, I love it when you say pretty little things like that.
Don't get used to it, Marty.
Oh, hello. There's loads of people here.
Gentlemen?
Gentlemen?
We're honestly very sorry it had to end like this.
Yeah, this peacefully.
For myself, I'm glad, gentlemen. I would have sincerely regretted it if we had to shoot both of you, but unfortunately, that seemed to be the only solution to this, rather nasty situation. Fortunately, it didn't turn out that way. Joyful.
Don't think we'll be behind bars for long, chickens. Whistler may be dead, but his empire still won't crumble.
I don't know about that.
Oh, look at that. He can talk.
In complex sentences, too.
Yeah, or something like that.
Amazing.
Hey, Bosco.
You're a good boy, Bosco. Nice work.
Don't call him
You
that.
know, folks, somebody's gotta take care of the real police work while you're tearing up the city.
Sorry for the mess, Bosco, but you know us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
How did you catch them? After the gunshot, I was sure these two would show up. They have a habit of doing that.
They were already in cuffs before then, Sonny. We had the house surrounded. If you could have hung on, maybe nobody would have died.
Hey, a second longer and it would have been us.
That's your story?
Oh my god, Bosco,
Thank you
chill.
sideways, Bosco.
Hey, Olivia.
Hey, Olivia.
Marty,
I just, wanted to thank you
for what exactly?
for trying to save us.
I didn't do it only for you, believe me. I loved my job while I had it. Now my employee is dead, so I don't...
I
Oh, whoops.
didn't even think of that.
Of course you didn't.
Can I do anything to help?
I think I'll manage. I always do.
Can we leave? How do we leave?
Thank you.
We thank you, Natasha. You saved our lives.
But it was also me who endangered you in the first place, right?
Well, I won't argue about that.
Can we go? Oh,
You.
Philmar's here.
What are you doing here?
I was just driving around. You know.
Trying to feed your grandpa? So? Was it a case? Were you, maybe investigating us?
What can I say, Sonny? Am I busted?
Did someone hire you to follow us?
I just had to keep an eye on you and not get involved. That's all. I admit there were a couple of crazy situations when it was hard not to.
But you managed
I like Philmar.
somehow, right?
A professional's a professional, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. So you won't tell us who hired you, whatever we do?
Unfortunately, I can't, my friend. I made a promise.
You and your promises.
Some people still take them seriously.
You're a real piece of guano. You know that?
Of course. I've learned everything from you, you old fart.
Lol.
So, here they are, ladies
There we
and gentlemen.
go.
The Chicken Police in the flesh.
Excuse me.
Damn it, Tim. Drop it and cluck off.
Oh, no, boys. This time, you deserve it.
What the cluck did you say, boss?
Stand up straight and try to look like someone who's glad to be alive.
Yes, sir. We'll try.
Ooh, attention Chicken Police. Say cheese.
Very good. Oh no! Sunny's face! We did it! We did it! That is just his face, you're right. Cute. Oh, never mind. Many extinct animals. Sad. It's a neat way to bring attention to it, though. I loved this. I still had some issues with it at the end, just as far as how they, like, went about being, or I guess, like, how they decided to end it with the brother being mentally ill. But overall, I did really enjoy this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it. It was a good game. It was a neat take on a classic genre. I liked the aminals. Can we...
Natasha?
You were expecting me, weren't you?
I wouldn't say that, but I'm not surprised.
I just wanted to talk to you.
About what exactly?
You know very well.
What do you think, Natasha? Why didn't she tell me?
Because she loved you.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, she may have never left the place. Perhaps she'd still be there.
Ah, sheep shit.
We used to dream about falling in love with a nice man who
Hey,
comes
boy!
and saves us someday. A knight in shining armor.
Sorry,
You
that
know,
magazine
like
is called
in the
Hey
fairy
Boy.
tales.
And how did that work out for you?
She fell in love with a good guy. I didn't. I envy her.
I'm not that good guy, Natasha. But if it's any consolation, she could have found him. Maybe she's living with him right now. Somewhere on the other side of the world.
Well, goodbye, Sonny.
So long, sweetheart. Hey, Natasha, you have a light? I've been trying to smoke this sorry-ass cig all day. It's driving
It
me
was
crazy.
weird seeing him, like,
Maybe
actually
you don't
move.
really need it.
Maybe you're right. maybe.
Don't be quoting Cowboy Bebop at me. Get out of here, chicken, please. Alright. Well, that's the dang game. I enjoyed that. It was good. I wasn't expecting to finish that today, so that means I'm gonna have to find something new for us to do on Wednesday. I have lots of games, but I need to figure out which one I want to do next. I also didn't mean to go as long as I did. I am exhausted though, so we're gonna just kind of call it short here. And we're gonna raid out. So there are our raid messages. If you're gonna come with us, I need to find somebody to go hang out with. JK, we're gonna go see Ams. Ams is doing a co-create stream, I believe. Co-working essentially. And we love Ams here. So yeah, thank you for being here. I'll see y'all next time. I'll be back this evening. We're doing more Last of Us tonight at 6 p.m. Central. And I'll figure out what we're gonna do on Wednesday for our afternoon game. But until then, take care of your dang selves. Have a good rest of your time zone. I love y'all. We'll see you later. Bye, friends.